Hey there, my name's Brashler, and in this video, I want to talk to you about a backup solution for your channels that's built in on your Behringer WING. Now, if you're brand new to my channel, I'm all about helping you feel more confident with your production gear, no matter where you're starting from. Now, what I'm talking about is the alt input or the alternate input, and it's on every single channel on your Behringer WING. Now, to get to this, all we have to do is select our channel and then go to our input and preamp, and then we can see that there is not only a main channel, but there is also an alt channel. Now, you can utilize this in a couple of different ways. Now, the first way that I want to talk about is using this as a backup channel for your important microphones. So for instance, if we had a microphone for our primary vocalist, or our pastor. And then we also had a backup microphone. Maybe we have 8 channels of wireless and we want to utilize wireless 8 as our backup mic. And so if there's an issue with one of our wireless microphones, our audio team can run out that backup microphone to that talent and then use the backup microphone. Now, if it's your lead vocal, sometimes you have some different presets and different patching or effects that you're using or plugins that you're using, different things like that. And so one benefit of using the alt input is we can actually swap to that backup input and then keep the same signal flow of our vocal 1 in that same channel. And so for instance, my DL32 on A1 is my vocal primaries microphone in this case. And so then I have a backup microphone, in this case this guy, and this is plugged into my local 1 on the back of my console. And so what I can do is I can go to Alt and I can go and select any input that I want to have as a backup input. And so in this case, I'm going to go to source group, I'm going to go to my local in, and then I'm going to select my local 1. And at this point, I am using my check 1, 2, my backup microphone on this particular channel. Now, if I want to swap back to the main input, I just press main. And now I'm back to my AES50 stage box on input 1. And so I can adjust the gain of my input here. But when we swap to the alternate, notice that this actually doesn't adjust the gain of my alternate input. Now, this is one downside of the alternate input, is you would have to adjust the gain in a different place. So in this case, I could go to routing, I could then go to sources, and then I could go find my local in, and I can then adjust my gain here, up or down as needed. So if I needed more gain, I can turn it up here, and then I can go back to my channel, and then we can see that it's working still on the alternate. Now, I can go and adjust trim, but then if I was to swap back to the main input, that trim is going to stay there, so we would need to zero that out. But the alternate input here gives us the ability of really switching quickly to that backup microphone. Now, the other great thing about the alt is setting it up for a virtual sound check. Basically, we are recording our audio and we are recording that to the WING Live card or an expansion card or the USB playback. So one thing that we need to differentiate is that this alt is an input path. I have seen some people accidentally think that this is how you record our channel to our WING Live card or our USB, that sort of thing. And that is unfortunately incorrect. This is just an input source that we can swap between. So in this case, if I was wanting to have my DL32 recording all my channels, then what I would need to do is I would need to go to routing, go to outputs, and then go select whatever I'm wanting it to record on. So if I'm wanting to record a multi-track recording on a USB connected to a computer, then I would go to my USB audio, and then I would make sure that all of this routing is selected from the inputs that I had for this particular channel. So we can see that I am pulling my DL32 1 through 32 for my 32 channels of my USB connection to my computer. Likewise, if we were going to be using a WING Dante or a WING Live card, we can also route it here. So for instance, my output group is the expansion card, and I have selected my DL32 on AES50A between 1 and 32 on those 32 channels. And now I have the ability of recording all of my inputs from my stage box to both a computer on the USB, as well as the Wing Dante or a Wing Live card if you had that in place. Now, where this alt input really comes in key is that we can actually swap all of the inputs on our console that we want to, if it's set to global, at once. And so let me show you how to set this up. So what I'm talking about is in setup, if we go to audio, there is this input select between main and alt. Now, if we have it on main, this is what's coming from the stage. So this is from our main patching, and we can differentiate this by going to routing and going to our channels, and we can see our channel inputs on main. Now, if I was wanting to route my audio to the alternate input to be able to do that multi-track playback for a virtual sound check, then I can go to my channel input of alt, and I can go find where I'm pulling that audio from. So let's, in this case, pretend that we have our computer connected via USB, and we want to play back that audio into our console via our computer over that USB connection. In this case, I'm going to unlock and press +1 auto, and then I'm going to go to source group of USB audio, in which case this is now going to be the connection from that computer. And so at this point, what we would do is we would go through and route all of our audio to our channels on the alternate input. And so in this case, my channel 1, we would need to go in and actually separate this to be mono, because I did record these as mono tracks. And so in this case, I need to go to sources, go to my USB audio, take this and convert it to mono. And then we can go back to our channels and we can see right here. So here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we will basically go through all of our channels to swap them over to this alternate input. So we can now see that my main is coming from AES50A 1 through 32, and the alternate is coming from USB 1 through 32. So at this point, we can go to our setup, and we can press into this little matrix. And then here, we can select any of our inputs that we want to swap over automatically when we change this setting between main and alt here on this input select on setup on the audio page. So in this case, I'm going to click into this little matrix, and I'm going to select my 1 through 32, because those are my channels that I have playing back from my USB recording. And so at this point, when I press close, we will notice that there is a bright blue and a darker blue. The darker blue means that those are set to main, but they're not controlled via this global input select. Now, when I press Alt, it's actually going to change all of my inputs of those 32 channels to now being playing from the alternate input. So we can go take a look at my channel 1, and we will notice that the input is coming from USB 1. Now, one thing that you probably noticed is that all of my faders changed names. And so if I go back to my setup and then audio and swap between main and alt, we'll notice that all of the names changed. Now, there's two ways that we can fix this. One, we can go to our channel and go to the name and unclick Link Customization to Source. And that will basically make it so that this channel is always called whatever you had it set to. And so, for instance, I can go back to main, and I can go to this channel, go name, and then unlink this customization to source. And then if I go to setup and I swap to my alternate input, we will notice that my channel 1 did not change names. You would have to do this channel by channel and turn off that customization. But there's actually a slightly better way of doing this. So I'm going to go back and turn this link to customization back on. Now let's go to our routing. And let's go to our channel sources on Alt. So what I'm going to press is this copy customization from the channel to the source. And then I'm going to repatch my alternate inputs. So in this case, I'm going to go to my first channel, unlock, make sure that +1 auto is selected, and then I'm going to copy all of my routing that I have. And as we are patching these, we will notice that the names on the source group are being updated to the names of the channel. And I just messed up there. So here is that one and then that one. There we go. And so now we can see that my inputs from my AES50A are the same name as these channels, as well as the same name on my USB audio at this point. And so now when I go to my setup and I change my alt, we'll notice that all of these say alt up here, but none of the names have changed. Now, another thing that I want to mention is you can see that there is a white bar at the top of the scribble strips. Now, that will show you that this channel is being pulled from the alternate input. The other selection of where this is seen is up on the name of my channel. We'll notice that when it's on the main input, my number of the channel is dark. It has a little dark box. But if I swap it to alt, it's going to have a light box. Just want to keep that in mind. Now, when we are playing back from our alternate input, remember, we do not have control over the preamp gain of that input coming into that channel. So that's just something that you want to keep track of. Now, on the channel, in the moment, say you have a vocalist that's wanting to rehearse to some virtual recording tracks. Now, this is actually really helpful for those of you who are in the church. Maybe you have a worship pastor that is auditioning some vocalists. Well, one cool thing is you can record one of your rehearsals or record a performance from a Sunday or a worship set, and then you can actually play that audio back into your console and then go to the vocalist channel that wants to rehearse with that live. And you can just select that channel and we can swap to the main input. And now at this point, my audio from that vocalist's mic is coming into my console and going out to the PA, as well as the rest of my console being pulled from that virtual recording. Now, the alternate input is very flexible, not only for having a backup microphone for those important channels and keeping that audio line the same of all of your preamps, your EQs, your patches, everything like that, but also for utilizing our virtual recording and playback for a virtual sound check, which is a great way of doing it. Now, I hope this video was helpful for you today. If you do happen to have any questions, or there's a video that you're hoping that I would make on the Wing, or really any of the production equipment that's out there, please post that in the comment section down below, as I'm always reading through those comments to find videos that can be helpful for you. If you haven't already, make sure to check out my website at drewbrashler.com. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day.